Okay, we're live. Hi, everybody. So it's just a little bit late starting today's stream, um, but we should be good to go now. So let's see where we're at. We had some, we worked on some smaller scale stuff. Since then, I've made a few changes, adjustments, but I really want to fix a couple of bugs that were surfaced by turning on caching of the note partials. So just to like get a refresher, no pun intended. There are a couple of issues with the way that uh, the notes, the HTTP caching of notes is working. It's mostly working, but for example, if you add a tag or you delete a tag or you delete a note, then the the list of tags on the left should also update along with the note itself. So that's not happening right now. So um, let's take a look. For example, let's add a tag here. We'll add a we'll add a tag that doesn't exist in the current tag list. So let's say actually we'll just use a word instead of an emoji this time. It's easier. So we add the tag bug, and we see that the tag does not exist on the tags list. It should be refreshed if we refresh the whole page. Let's take a look. Yes, there we go. So it's there now. And correspondingly, if we delete the tag, the old tag, the one that was just deleted, keeps appearing on the tags list. It's not gone as well. So if you click on this, you will see it's obviously search result is empty. So obviously, this is an issue of state management. The state on one part of the page was updated, but the state on the other part was not. So let's go back to the stream and the link, the note, and look at how to solve this. There's actually another issue. There's another bug having to do with note caching, but we'll get to that at a later time if we have time in this particular stream episode, perhaps then. But otherwise, maybe later. So let's think about what we want to do here. We want to, whenever we add a tag, delete a tag or delete a note, we want to also refresh the tags list on the left panel. We already know that we're going to use the HX swap will be out of band swap mechanism to do the swap, to do the refresh. So for example, if we add a tag here, we will piggyback an out of band refresh of this entire notes list along with that tag, or along with deleting the tag or deleting the note. So let's see how we can do that. Let's look at the first case, adding a tag. So that's handled in the handler, ZK handler, and there is a handler called add tag note. That's the name, tag note. So what does this do? Well, the tagging is done by submitting this form, which has a single field and a submit button. So we receive the form on the server side. We extract the field called tag, the value of the field. We add the note, and then we view the new tag over here. What that just means is that we respond with an HTML partial that renders the new tag, which is that over there. So obviously we want to respond with not just the new tag partial itself. The partial is over here, and this is the piece of HTML that renders a new tag that was just added into the app, into the backend database. So we want not just that, but also we want to, as I said, piggyback an out-of-band swap and refresh of the entire tags list. So I'm thinking now that the cleanest way to do this would be probably to feed in the tag the tag as well as all of the rest of the tags. So this is the newly added tag, and the existing tags should be fed in as a function argument to this new tag function, so that we can pass it forward to another function which will render the actual tags partial. So the tags partial is rendered here. So this is taking a seek of strings, which are the names of the tags, and rendering them inside an unordered list, which ends up as you see on the left panel over here. This is just formatted as kind of like a flowing list of like inline elements, which kind of responsively reflow along with the width of the page. But anyway, so the point is that to render this tags list, we do need to pass in a seek of string seek, which is the seek of tags, names, and then we render that. But in the case of the new tag view function, we will want to pass in that tag seek over here somehow, so that it can be forwarded on to the tags renderer as an out-of-band swap. So this part is clearly, to do an out-of-band swap, we need to add the hx dot swap OOP parameter attribute, and we need to say that this is true or false, depending on the value of the depending on some value that will get passed into this into the tags function here. Let's see, this is a string because it can encode some more complex information than just true or false. If we take a look at the attribute reference, normally you would say that it's true, but it can have other values as well, which we're not going to look at right now. We're just going to actually use true over here. But we need to construct the value. It takes a string, so we will want to do an out-of-band swap if needed. Otherwise, we don't want any attribute to be rendered at all, so we're going to use a conditional rendering. So we're going to say if OOB, then, and this OOB is a parameter that I will add to the tags function just in a sec. So if OOB, then hx dot swap OOB true, else null, which just represents the null or no attribute. So let's add an optional parameter here, OOB, which is by default false. So in this tags list, we will add the swap OOB attribute if necessary. And this is an optional parameter, so it doesn't break any existing calling functions which are using it right now. If they don't need to render out of band, they won't need to bother about that. But in the case of new tag, we definitely want to render out band. So let's see how that would work. What we'll do is we'll make the tag note database call. We'll change this to return a list of all, or seek of all of the current tags, instead of returning nothing, and as it is doing right now. So let's make that change here, and we'll feed that list into the new tag function. So the way to do that, we'll do it like this. We'll use pipe forward, tag pipe forward into tag node ID, pipe forward into new tag node ID tag, and then we'll respond, obviously. So obviously tag, we're adding a tag, blah, 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 and we expect this tag node function to now return a seek of tags. So that's, we will add that here, node ID tag. So this is the node tagged node, the node that just got tagged, ID of that node. Then the new tag itself, and then the final parameter will be the existing tags. So we'll add the new parameter there, and then now we can pass it into the tags function to render all the new tags. Let's rename this a bit to avoid clashing with the existing function tags name. Let's collapse this for a sec to make it easier to see the tags function, which we're going to use now. So existing tags, so we need to do an out-of-band swap, which means we need to return not just this list item element, but we also need to return this other element here. We need to return two elements together. So that means that we need to use a container, a null tag, to contain both of these two elements. In the design of the Dream.html library, we are able to contain a list of elements inside a null tag container, which at the time when the HTML itself gets rendered, that null tag container will go away, and we'll be left with only the contained node tags in the HTML, in the final HTML. So the second element in the list inside the null tag is going to be, if you're thinking that sounds like a React fragment, if you know about React, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a fragment. So let's add in the second node, which is going to be a call to the tags function, which will render the final refreshed tags list over here. So let's call that. And in this case, we do want this to be out of band swap. So we are going to explicitly say OOB true. and we'll pass in the existing tags here. And so now we have both of them together. We do have another type error here. Let's see what this is about. Let's hover over the error. Tagalize has type. Okay, it's because of this function. We now need to add in the existing tags. Over here, so this is rendering a note that can be clicked on to edit it, but normally it's rendered as a just a piece of just an article HTML element that normally it's not editable, but when you click on it, it will be edited. It will turn into something that's editable. It's going to turn into a text area. So we would want to render the tag alias. Yes, okay. Now I understand why this is being used here. Perhaps, yes. Yes. Okay, so we're using this to render not just the newly added tags, but also the existing tags on the note itself. So, because if you think about it, a note that's just been added, a tag that's just been added, looks exactly the same as a tag that already existed on the note. So we're using the same function to render them. It's not working right now because we have a type error, so the server is not running. But if it was working and running, then the newly added tag would appear in the list of tags, and it would be rendered in exactly the same way as the existing tag, which is why we're using the same function to render both of them. But the function changed its signature to require the all of the existing tags here, because we need to refresh the list of tags in the left panel. So maybe what we need to do here is since we're using it for two different purposes, for one purpose we don't give it the list of existing tags, and for the other purpose we do give it the list. So we would need to make existing tags an optional argument or optional parameter. Let's try that. This way, with no default value, which would avoid breaking any other calls to the function. We would just need to manually go over the cases where it would need to be changed and change them ourselves. So let's try that. So now this is an option of seek of tags, and in the case when it's a when there is some seek, then we do want to render this out of band swap refresh of the tags list on the left panel. If there is no such seek, if it's none, then we don't want to render anything. We don't want to do an out of band refresh. So since we want to handle the two cases, simple way to do that is to use a match, pattern match. So let's do existing tags with use a little abbreviation. So there are some existing tags, in which case we do want to do an out of band swap here. Otherwise, we're going to say that there's not going to be any tag here. And I think that particular error that we were seeing here is gone, but we obviously have other errors, so we need to fix those. So anyway, so what we just did, we added the parameter here to new tag as an optional existing tags parameter. So let's rearrange this call so that that works now. So the way it's going to work now is tag is going to be the final parameter or argument at the call site of new tag. The second last argument is node ID, which is over here, and the optional argument existing tags is going to be added here, and that argument is just this db.tag note, as we decided that we're going to use this to return the list of tags of this node. So tag by forward view new tag, existing tags, node ID, and respond. All right, so almost there. I noticed that this tag is only used here, so we might as well inline it. So let's do that right now. With by forward. So now we are left with only the obvious issue, which is we need to update our database function to handle this new optional parameter, to handle, we need to return the list of existing tags after adding the new tag from the db.tagNote function. So let's go to the db.mli. So tag note, currently we have this is the represents the database connection, this is the node ID, this is the new tag name, and finally we return unit. In this case we weren't returning anything useful, but now of course we want to return a list or seek of all of the new tags after adding the new tag. So now of course the interface and implementation don't match, so we need to update the implementation file. So let's take a look at that. So we need to start from the prepared statement. When we add a new tag, the prepared statement is this one here, tag node. So insert into node tag, node ID tag values, node ID tag. Now the trick, there's a little bit of a trick here, which I wonder if I can use, which might simplify my code a little bit, which is that in recent versions of SQLite, The insert statement can actually support a returning clause, if I'm not very much mistaken. So insert blah 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 into etc values and returning clause. Here we go. So the returning clause looks like we can return any columns that we want to select from the table that we just inserted into. So returning blah blah node tag, node ID tag, values, node ID tag. So we can return all of the tags. Returning. Okay, so the only problem is that in the node ID tag table, the tags are not unique across rows. The combination of node ID and tag is unique, but each row, every row, multiple rows could potentially have the same tag over and over again. So if we return just the tags column, we're going to get duplicates. And we can see that in the tags query, we actually we select the distinct tags. And we actually have some code here in this SQL which handles the fact that tags can be Unicode emojis or characters. So I feel like we probably need to stick with our existing tags query instead of trying to use the SQLite returning clause in this particular case. There might be another blocker to the returning clause, but yeah, this is a pretty big blocker. So let's try updating the database function as we just edited it here. The tag note ultimately needs to return a string seek. So let's go to the implementation of the tag note function. Let tag note. So this is running inside a transaction, which is good because we want to have a consistent view. After adding a new tag, we want to return the view of all of the tags at that point in time. So as we see here, it's running a transaction because if we tag a note, then we do need to update its timestamp of that note. So we're just going to add one more statement, SQL statement, inside this particular transaction, which is to just return the tags. So let's see how we implemented the existing one, and we'll kind of reuse that. Tag note, tags t. Oh, it's kind of super simple. It's this one here, tags t, which also returns a string seek. So I guess we can just reuse this tags t function. It just expands to what we were going to write by hand anyway. So but I wonder why is this returning the column index 1. I'm blanking on the query. Let's take a look one more time at the tags query. Okay. Oh, I see. So the 0th column index just is a predicate that calculates whether the tag is an emoji character or not, and we use that to implement ordering of the selected tags. So first we order all of the emojis at the top, and then the alphanumeric tag names after all the emojis, so that we get a nice view of all of the emojis at the top of the list. So that's why it's only selecting the column index 1, which contains the actual tag name or emoji. Okay, cool. So that makes sense. So we're just going to reuse the tags.t function. Let's just do so. Return that. Obviously, we can't do that quite yet because it appears after it, but we can just shuffle the ordering to make it work. So finally, we return the tags, which we already defined here. Oh, hi, typed reflections. Hey, good to see you again. We have a chat. Let me pop out the chat on my end so it's easier to see. All right. Welcome to the stream. Okay, cool. So we have the chat messages are kind of in a slightly weird position. I still don't know how to move the positioning of the chat messages on the screen. I need to figure that out. But yeah, one of these days I need to do that. Okay, cool. So what's this error? Zcandler, new tag, tags, tag note. Okay, so tag note, as we just decided to return a string seek, which should be as expected. Existing tags should take a string seek. Database, node ID, and the tag. Okay, it's missing the new tag name, so that's why it's failing. Let's add that in. Tag note, the new tag ID is, or the new tag name is the final parameter. So let's add that in. And now I see why I had explicitly named this with a let binding, because we do need to refer to it multiple times. Form field tag from fields in tag. And we should be good there. Feedback. Stream resolution is 720p. Text is small. Difficult on mobile. I see. Okay. Let me see if I can increase the resolution. Should be here somewhere. Upload memory frames resolution. Layout, maybe frames, frame drops, upload CPU viewers, session. Okay, I am a total Twitch noob, and basically this entire UI is super confusing for me. I will need to figure out how to change my resolution. I do want to try to figure that out. Streaming tools, perhaps. Looks like these are add-ons. Stream manager. Bitrate. I think maybe I move this to this screen here so it doesn't interfere with the stream share. but where do I set the resolution? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Settings, stream, disconnect, latency, settings, beauties. You know what? I will need to figure that out, but I'll need to dive into the help pages and so on and so forth. But yeah, for the moment, let me put that, let me table that and see if I can finish up the update of the tags refresh. It might actually help if I increase the text size. Let's try that. Type reflections. Let me know if that helps with the text size. All right. Could ask ChatGPT. Yeah, that's an option. To be honest with you, I've gone to the ChatGPT site and I've almost signed up multiple times, but each time they ask me for more and more personal information. So it's like, do I really need to give you? Okay, I gave you I told you what my Google account is. Do I really need to give you my phone number as well? I don't really want to give OpenAI my phone number. You know, they ask for your date of birth, fine. Your some account, blah blah blah. Okay, cool. Text is not crisp. Yeah, it's the resolution, right? So need to figure that out for sure. The video settings, I'm not sure what the screen share settings are, how I can change the resolution. But yeah, need to figure that out. You'd think that that would be one of the obvious things to display in the Twitch creator UI, but I guess not. Anyway, okay, so where are we? Okay, so we have a working compilation succeeded. So let's try and see if the refresh works. Let's refresh the page. All right, let's add a new tag, bug, and boom, it was immediately updated here as well. Sweet. But I wonder if that was noticeable enough. Maybe we should add a CSS animation or transition to kind of make it pop out a little bit. Maybe that's something for the future. But clearly, of course, we do need to add or modify a couple more actions here. For example, deleting a tag did not update it here. So let's add in that deletion, tag deletion, refresh. So the handler is this one here, delete tag. So let's see what we can do here. View deleted tag. It's actually going to be very similar to this, isn't it? Yeah, from the delete tag function. Clearly now we need to return the list of all of the existing tags after doing the deletion. So yeah, let's try that. It's going to be very similar. Okay, let's create a pipeline. I wonder if there's a, off the top of my head, I can't recall if there's a specific HTTP 2xx status to say that something has been deleted. Uh, Created status is obviously there. It's what, 201 or something, but deleted, I'm not sure. I'm just using the default, just 200, of course. Doesn't really matter too much, I guess. Anyway, so we pass in the tag, you delete your tag, and for the deleted tag, we will always want to, when we delete a tag, we'll always want to refresh it. So it's not going to be an optional parameter. At the very least, let's start it off as a non-optional parameter, and let's see how far we can get with that strategy. So let's try that. So obviously, we need to fix some type errors here. This is not a function, etc., etc. So obviously, because I added a new parameter, I need to add it to the formal parameters list. Existing tags here. So now, very similarly to the previous one, we'll do a out of band swap here as well. So let's refresh our memory here. See what we did here. We added a null tag to contain the existing HTML fragment and the new fragment, which is the out of band swap, which is just calling the tags function. In this case, it's always going to be something because it's an option right now. So let's make that change. Tag.null open list and start and add in the new call here to tags will be true and with argument existing tags. Cool. So that got rid of that part of the error. Now, of course, we need to add the or update the return type of delete tag to return the new set of tags after the deletion. So let's do that. So similarly to tag note, we will update delete tag. So now it's going to be string c.t return type and update the implementation. So very similarly to the above, we'll just return tags here. And now that should take care of that error. Cool. So now let's try this. So add a tag. Okay, it's refreshed here. Cool. Let's delete the tag and it's gone. Cool. Out of band swap working as advertised. Perfect. And the final piece, I think we can finish this off. We might actually be able to finish off this entire bug fix in this session. Fingers crossed. Deleting a note. Okay, so let's add a test note to obviously try out this functionality for tag deletion. To be deleted for tag refresh. Okay, so we just added the new note, and so we are going to add a tag here. Let's say bug, And when we delete this note, we want the tag bug over on the left panel to disappear as well. So let's see how we can make that happen. This might be slightly trickier, but let's see. Delete node ID, we have a delete. Okay, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's use the same technique as before and start with the handler. Delete note, here we go. So note, view deleted note, and of course we need to pass in the chat. When you deleted the bug tag, I could still see the bug text on the main section. Really. Okay, let's check one more time. So I have the bug tag here, and I'm going to delete the bug tag here, and it should immediately disappear from the tags list on the left panel. Let's try that. Yeah, it looks like it disappeared. Oh, you are probably referring to this text on the main section here. Yes, that's actually, I kept that there deliberately to show that we just deleted this. I made that an explicit design choice for accessibility reasons. I don't want to all of a sudden completely disappear that particular piece of text, because that's the main viewing area right now, right? So of course we could argue that well, then why am I okay with making the text disappear from the left panel? I feel like it's maybe, yes, exactly, it's using a strike through. It's using the del HTML tag to indicate that it's a strike through, to indicate that it's deleted. Yeah. And I do the same thing with note deletions as well. You'll see when I delete this note, it's going to be struck through. Okay, so let's try this. We'll add back the bug tag, and we will now add in functionality for note deletion. So view deleted note. We do need to return the tags, or pass in the tags into this view deleted note function, view function. So we will pass it in, I guess let's pass it in as the second last parameter. And let's try that. So view deleted note, and this parameter gets the time zone. This parameter is going to get the existing tags, and the final parameter is the note itself, the note fragment that shows that it's deleted. So let's see here. Time zone, existing tags over here, and we will just render that. We already are using tag null, so we'll just add a new, because I think we were using it because we were doing an out-of-band swap before, but we stopped doing that. Anyway, point is, this is almost ready for us to add in the new function with O be true, of course. Let's try that. Let me see if okay, because I shadowed the tags function name with this tags field name. So let's rename it to something different. So we'll use that name here. Oops. No tags. and we'll use the name, or save it rather. Okay, so now the error is gone. We should be almost there. Now, only thing that's left is updating the database layer, the database call. Delete node ID. That's the function that's called. So let's update that to return string seek. List of nodes with notes tags basically. So let's find that. Delete node ID. Yes, here we go. And we're going to do this in a transaction almost exactly the same way as we were doing the other ones here, just below. So again, we'll need to change the ordering so that tags appears first, because we're going to reuse that. And we will put both of the calls in a single transaction. Transaction on this database, and everything inside this function is the transaction. So delete the note and get the new tags after deleting the note. And success. So this should be pretty much okay to go. Let's try this. Delete the note. Very sure, yes. And as we see, the note is struck through, and the bug tag is gone from the tags list on the left panel. Cool. So that is exactly what we needed to do. So the three cases: add a node tag, delete a node tag, delete a node. And I believe we've covered all the cases, so I think we are good. Let's take a look at the diff. So starting with the database there, delete note ID, return the tags, tag a note, we return the tags, delete the tag, return the tags, of course. Update the interface file, done. Update the handlers to pass in the tags to the views, to the view functions, done. And finally update the view functions to take in and render the existing tags in each of the places which needs it. Most of this changes just OCaml format reformatting to fit within the column limit. Very few of this is the new stuff that we added. For example, this thing here. This thing here. Yeah. So all in all, surprisingly small diff, not too bad. Quite a lot of it is actually OCaml format reformatting. I mean, that's just the price we pay for automatic formatting. I figured, let the computer do that part. It's a human doesn't need to do it. Okay, so I think we're good to go. Let's commit this, and we can actually, funnily enough, use this app itself as like a bug tracker, just like an ad hoc bug tracker. Fix 147. If I say, it's number 147, then GitHub is going to think that I'm talking about GitHub issues. So let's just use this relative path here. So we'll say refresh list of existing tags on adding a new tag, deleting a tag, deleting a node. And yeah, so thanks to the out-of-band swap behavior, this is really quite manageable. It's really very I mean, all you need to do is figure out what, when, and where you want to refresh your state and which parts of your state, and just use the out of band swap mechanism, and boom, you're pretty much done. So yeah, I have to say that htmx, if you're thinking that, well, React offers a full-fledged or several full-fledged state management solutions, htmx is not actually that far behind. If you think about your state carefully, which you do need to anyway in any framework, you will arrive at pretty much very similar designs, I personally think. Anyway, so this is going to actually, the deploy might take a while because I think it missed the cache, my local Docker cache. It's rebuilding some dependencies. So anyway, that's gonna take a while, a few minutes to fly IO, but which I'm pretty happy with. No relationship between me and them, but you know, I'm using the free tier. Anyway, so I think that's good for now. So I will sign off. Cool. So thanks everybody for watching, and hopefully see you next time.